I hereby call the special meeting of the Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Bernie's already called the roll. Dave, are you going to?
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're here tonight to talk about the board's approval, September 1st approval of a conditional use for Bedford Recycling. And the board approved that, well, Bedford Recycling came before the board seeking a conditional use approval for a central garbage rubbish collection facility. And then it described the use that it intended to put its property to. The board listened to the description, and I think that in the motion, the board, Margaret Clemens made the motion that essentially it didn't sound like a central garbage collection facility, but more like a scrapyard. And that motion was approved. In preparing the written findings in support of the board's order, I think it became apparent that the threshold issue of whether the use proposed by Bedford Recycling was actually a central garbage rubbish collection facility, and whether the use was one of the uses that the board is authorized to grant a conditional use for. And preparing the findings, it became clear to me that there was a problem with the proposed use satisfying all the elements of the central garbage rubbish collection facility. That particular use is one that involves solid waste, the transportation of solid waste under contract from residences and commercial interests. And Bedford, in its description of what it proposed to do, stated that it was not going to be handling solid waste in any way, shape, or form, that it was not going to be collecting it from residences and commercial entities, and it wasn't going to be transferring solid waste. I present that to the board, that the board, while acknowledging all the facts that are not in dispute, neglected to apply those facts to the definition of central garbage and rubbish facility. And in my opinion, that is an error of law. And so I think the meeting tonight is to discuss how to address this. And a couple of options I think exist. One would be to just move forward with the appeal that has been filed in that case by Republic Services, adopt the board's or the staff findings of fact, if the board disagrees with me and doesn't think there's been an error. If the board thinks there's been an error, it seems that there's a couple of things to be done, and one would be to conduct a hearing on the revoking the conditional use approval and give Bedford Recycling an opportunity to address that, to weigh in on whether a mistake was made, a mistake of law, and at the same time, possibly working with the parties to come up with an agreed entry to the appeal. So those are the options I present to the board tonight. And I would take any questions you might have.
Anyone have questions for Dave? Seeing none.
Mary Beth, this is Bernie. I've got my hand up.
Hi, Bernie. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm here.
Okay, so I understand this, that if we see that there's an error in our judgment as a board, then we would bring this to advertised BZA meeting, and then we would have to make a decision on whether we would recant or revoke our prior decision. Is that a fair statement, Dave?
Yes, that is correct. And you can only do this if there is I believe, if there is a mistake of law.
Okay, and to determine if there's a mistake of law, we would determine that at a future meeting where we would make that determination. Is that correct?
Well, at the future meeting, yeah, you would determine whether to revoke it based on that issue.
Okay.
Dave, I have a question. Do you have a recommended motion to go in that direction? And if so, do you have that language? You could put that on the shared screen.
Well, I think, I don't know if Jackie has that up there. The possible motions, if that can be shared. Yeah, so the first possible motion would be if you think if you don't agree with me that there has been an error of law, then just approve the staff findings and we can move forward. If you agree with me, then the second option would be the one to adopt with the further instruction that I could be authorized to work with the parties to seek some kind of a resolution to the appeal.
Okay, that's all I have with my question, Mary Beth.
Okay, Skip, does that answer your question?
It does. I was going to yield to anyone that might have motions.
This is a public hearing. Do we need to get public comment?
That's up to, this isn't really a hearing, but
Okay.
if you wish to take public comment, that's perfectly fine. I don't know if
Okay.
anyone's here who would like to comment.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that, Mary Beth. Just want to make sure. I wasn't sure, but I would be okay with that.
Okay, I'm not seeing actually any members from the public here at all, to be honest. So I just,
Do we have to introduce the evidence before the BZA can make any motions? Or is that only for a hearing?
That's only for a hearing.
Thank you.
okay, does one of my fellow board members have a motion?
Does this have a case number, or can I just proceed?
Yeah, this would be the motion that's on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, Bernie, but it's
Yeah.
it's CDU 21-3.
Okay. Okay. I move that the board schedule a public hearing on case number CDU-21-3, giving notice to all interested parties to determine whether the board erred as a matter of law by concluding that the use proposed by Bedford Recycling Incorporated was a central garbage/rubbish collection facility use for which a conditional use could be granted.
I will
see.
second.
Did you want to add on whatever it was Dave said about him working with the parties? Is that something we need to add on here, Dave, to the motion?
I don't think you need to add that on, just so you understand.
Okay.
That's possible.
All right,
I will second if it has not been.
okay. Larry, you want to call roll, please?
I sure will. The motion is to schedule a public hearing on case number CDU-21-3, giving notice to all interested parties to determine whether the board erred as a matter of law by concluding that the use proposed at Bedford Recycling Inc. was a central rubbish collection facility use for which a conditional use should be granted. Is that adequate, David?
Yes.
Okay, again, a motion is to approve the vote. Yes vote is to approve the motion. Margaret Clemens,
Yes.
Bernie Garitas,
Yes.
Skip Daly,
Yes.
Mary Beth Smartcheck,
Yes.
Vicky Sorensen.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Thank
All
you.
right. And I believe we are done here. Is that correct?
I think so.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, every BZA member.
Yeah,
You
happy
too, Larry.
holidays,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.